Paltrocast.
How have you been?
Well, I was just thinking about that because last time I spoke with you, Samurai Chop was the new single. It was kind of a secret that you'd signed to Tuff Gong and UMG. So a year later, how's life changed for you?
How's life changing? It has been a year, hasn't it? Um, it's been crazy, bro. There's been opportunities that have come up that I would have never even imagined. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've just fully surrendered myself and surrounded myself to the music at this point. It's a blessing to be able to move around, spend time with my family, and do it all because of music. Like, yeah, man, it's been a crazy year. Trust me.
Yeah, and I saw that you were recently here in New York. You played at Coney Island representing Tuff Gong at that big important festival. Was that your first time in New York?
That was my first time in New York. Yes, yeah, man,
Did
beautiful,
you
beautiful concert. Yeah.
did you do all the stereotypical tourist things like Empire State Building and Broadway?
No, man, I didn't have enough time, unfortunately. It was just Coney Island and that was it. But I feel like Coney Island was, for that trip, it was enough.
Did you go to the original Nathan's hot dogs while you were there?
No, man, nobody told me. Darren, you should have told me.
Next time you come out, I'll make sure that Cruff gets everywhere he needs to go. But I enjoy watching your social media because how flexible you are as a performer. You'll perform with a live band if they need. If it's a barbecue, you'll come up and do a song. If it's a big festival, you'll do it. And I say that as a compliment because a lot of artists have it in their head that they need to get into character. They have to warm up. Not Cruff. He'll show up. He'll deliver the goods.
Yeah, man. I always say that performing is my favorite part of the gig. There are moments where like something will come up last minute and I'm like, all right, I gotta get it together. But I just feel like to me, bro, to be a good artist and a great artist, you just have to be ready at the drop of a dime, you know what I mean? And obviously there are moments where like I want to go up and I'm like, oh, I have a vision for the show. I want to look like this, and maybe that's not in the cards right now. But as long as I can go up there and be entertaining, because that's the job at the end of the day. You're an entertainer. I think
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
Yeah. So this is another compliment. You don't need seven hype men on stage. You could just go up there solo. Is that something that you had to learn how to do, or is it because you started out solo? It's just easy to be solo.
I feel like personally on that specific one, I've just, and this isn't knocking anybody's performances, but I've just seen how it looks with when you have like the gang of hype man. And I've just been like, nah, I don't really think, like to me, if someone's on stage, everybody has to have a purpose on stage. Same thing with the studio. If someone's in the studio, they have to have a purpose. You can't just be hanging out. You know what I mean? Then you're distracting from the mission. So I feel like I took it upon myself to learn how to pivot with that. That being said, there are moments where I know I kind of have a set where my brethrens come on, and I even met them do a 1-2 song with that in the Skoka the other day, and I feel like that was a great vibe. So it's all just for what the show calls for.
Makes sense. New single, She Don't Need. When did you actually record it?
That was recorded back in November, I believe, November of last year. Yeah, I know, right? It's been for a minute, man. But and nobody knew. Nobody knew we were just sitting on a banger like that. It kind of makes you question what else we're holding out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's something about you. Are there 80 songs recorded? Are there 12 songs recorded? I have no idea. Can you give me a ballpark range on how much you've recorded over the past year or so?
Ah, man, over the past year, because I just be in the studio there. I can't lie to you. Over the past year, I'd say like maybe 50, 60 songs. But I'm picky, you know what I mean? Like nobody is more critical of Cruff than Cruff. So I kind of feel like I know which amount of those songs I think are ready for the road.
Mhm.
And until I hit a certain number that I'm like, yeah, I feel comfortable with this, we're just going to keep making the hits, you see me?
Has it been a mix of producers that you've been recording with?
Yeah, it's been like a mixed bag. A lot of great producers, some from Jamaica, like Circa 11, Tessellated, Troublemaker, some from Toronto, like Junior T, Rich Kid, Eastbound, some from Montreal, like Banks and Ranks, who I just feel the need to shout out every time because me and them have something locked in, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. And then obviously I have my brethren that I've always worked with, which is Jag Hooligan and Solo YT. So yeah, it's just been a different bag, and I feel like that kind of helps to keep the sound interesting and keep me on my toes as an artist.
I think I asked you this the last time we spoke. Which one is Banks and which one is Ranks? Because I still don't know. And I don't know if they know either.
If from my understanding, he's Banks and he's Ranks. It's how it comes to, is it?
Yeah, so it's really interesting to see you putting out these one-off singles and that they're doing great. And they're charting and they're doing great. Is there a full length coming? Did I miss the full length?
You did not miss the full
Okay.
length. It's not out yet, don't worry. But thank you for asking. I feel like I've always seen myself to be the type of artist that my body of work will be what I'm remembered for. You know what I mean? That's at least what I aspire to be. So it's always in the cards to be working towards that. But at the moment, I also recognize that like we live in a different time.
Yeah.
A different time right now where like you need to give the people a little bit before you give them a lot. You know what I mean? Less is more. So I'm on that path right now. And then when the time comes and when the people are banging at my gates for it, we'll have the album ready for them.
Well, will the full-length album have the prior hits, or will that be viewed as old material and you have to give all new stuff on the album? Any idea about that?
That's a good question, Darren. And I honestly don't have an answer yet. And it's literally because I don't know. I would like that maybe 1, 2 of the earlier songs end up on there. But I'm also very excited to just be making music that I feel like people haven't heard yet. People will get the experience of listening to it for the first time in a rotation. So I'm not marrying myself to any idea of bringing back all the oldies. You know what I mean?
When you said before that you had 50 or so songs recorded, I would guess that doesn't include features and collaborations you've done for other artists.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's all me.
Okay, so your publisher must be very happy with you, how much material you're writing and delivering, because a lot of artists delivering 12 songs every 2 years is a hassle. And you've probably given them 50 to 80 songs that you have at least some songwriting of.
Mm-hmm. They've definitely gotten a bunch from me, but it's just through sifting it all. You know what I mean? Like shout out my A&R Ivan Evidente. Like some of the best things is when me and him get to sit down and he gives me his opinion on music because I value his opinion highly, and I feel like he's been a hit maker. You know what I mean? He knows how to work these records, so I feel like I'm in good hands in that regards.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the music soon touch the road.
So really busy the past year because of the touring, the nonstop recording. When you're not busy with all that, what's the number 2 hobby for you besides music?
You know, it's crazy. I get asked that question a lot and I really don't know what it is, man. And that makes me worried. I'm like, yo, has music just become my whole life? But I feel like the number 2 hobby, more than anything, is just spending time with my family. Like just doing the mundane stuff, literally doing the stuff that makes me feel like Solomon. That makes me not have to sit down and be like, I'm King Cruff today, isn't me? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like everyone enjoys being able to separate and sometimes spend time with who they really are on the inside, isn't me?
Well, it's not golf. Golf is not the number 2 hobby. You go down the checklist, you go, what would he like? Does he boat? Does he go on a boat a lot? Does he fish? That's a no. You're not traveling for fun because you're traveling for tour, so you probably want to be home as much as possible. Is it sports? Do you have a football club or a rugby club? Okay, not that.
Good guesses, good guesses.
Netflix, watching a lot of TV.
A lot of that. You know what? I just started watching The White Lotus. I
Oh
actually
yeah.
think good show. It's a very weird show, but I like weird shows. I don't know why. I like those shows that kind of like they dip into the human psyche and they like study these things and like kind of gives you these characters that the story is kind of driven by these characters. So The White Lotus is definitely a show that I touched on recently and I really enjoyed it.
Have you seen both the Hawaii and Italy seasons or just the Hawaii?
Both of them.
There you go. Okay. Uh, Now back to you here though. What does the next year look like for you? Do you know? And I'm not asking for the exclusive here. I'm just trying to figure out, are you keeping 85 secrets or are you waiting to see what's going to happen?
Darren, you make me sound like all I have is secrets, you know. I really try to be as transparent as possible. Um, I feel like what I want in the next year is more music. You know what I mean? I want music to be coming out constantly. I don't want to wait for it because I feel like, man, we just dropped a new song, She Don't Need, you know what I mean? And that was yesterday, and I'm not gonna lie, that felt like my birthday. You see me? That felt more like my birthday than my actual birthday, you see me? So that feeling of like dropping the music and having everyone react to it, and people have been waiting so long since Souffle, which was the last single. I think that's where my head is at. Everything else, as long as I'm dropping music, I feel like I'll be happy.
So were you performing She Don't Need live before the single came out?
Yes, I was.
Were you telling people as part of your banter, this is my next single, or are you just keeping your mouth shut about what that was?
It would maybe sometimes I'd say it depends on what the vibe is. What would be the best feeling is when I do the song and then someone comes up to me after. This happened like last Friday before the song came out. And I did a show in London called Stompbox. And this girl came up, she was like, that last song was amazing. When is that song coming out? And I was like, guess what? It's coming out next week. So that's like the best feeling in the world, you know what I mean?
Well, two quick questions for you, and then I'm going to let you go. And the first one is, you've already collaborated with a lot of artists, but who else is on your list of people that you hope to collaborate with in the future?
That I hope to collaborate with. I feel like, I'll go for the dream collabs first, which is Andre 3000, Kendrick, Childish Gambino, the real aiming highs. And I feel like for me personally, I just want to tap in more with the artists that I know. There's an amazing artist out here in Toronto named Nilo Blues. Crazy singer, love that guy. Some people back home, I want to make more music with Tessellated. I want to make more music with Runkus. I want to make some music with Royal Blue. I want to make some music with even some of the OGs, you know what I mean? So the list is long. It's all about just finding the right place for the collaboration to happen.
Now, my last question to me is interesting, but it may be a stupid one to you. Okay, you ready? When you work for a corporation, usually you get some perks, some benefits. You're allowed to know stuff before everyone else does. Now, being a Tuff Gong person, do you get to hear any of the Marley family stuff before it comes out?
Honestly, and this is just me being honest, I'm going to say no. But I'm going to say the main reason why is because I'm just they're all over the place. You know what I mean? They're everywhere. And I'm just in Canada right now. You know what I mean? I feel like if I was around them, then definitely there's been moments where I've heard some of the unreleased stuff. I'm not gonna say from who, because I don't want to get in trouble. I've heard some of the unreleased stuff and I've just been like, this is insane. Like people don't even know that this type of music exists. So I definitely get the sneaking every once in a while. But as of lately, I've just been up in Canada making this music, man. So, but shout out Tuff Gong, same way.
I'm looking forward to the next single. Hopefully you get back to New York and I could be at that show. And when you know where to when you're coming to New York and you want to know where to go, we'll take you to see MF Doom's childhood home and all that kind of stuff, because I know that's one of your heroes too. But hey, thank you for the great music and really looking forward to everything that's to come from you, Cruff.
Respect, Darren. Good talking to you again, man. Let's not make it a year until we talk again. You see me?
Paltrocast.